Let's be honest, bicycles are toys and fixing them is a hobby. And every time you walk into your local bike shop, there's some waiting for you hell-bent on convincing you otherwise. As an shop owner myself, I see this play out all the time. The more you insist that you need a straightforward answer, the more I feel the need to explain to you what you just can't seem to understand, and now we can't be friends. But all you need is a decent, affordable bike that functions how you need it to every time you ride it without having to think about it. Well, what's so hard about that? Well, lucky for you, that's exactly what this video is about. To help you find common ground with your local bike shop, these are my stupid answers to the top 10 stupid questions I'm asked all the time at my bike shop. Stupid question number 10. How much air goes in my tires? Make them firm and go for a bike ride. Tire pressure is a personal preference. If you feel like things are squishy, add some air. If you feel like you're riding on wooden wagon wheels, let some out. But if you really need a specific number, every tire is marked with a maximum. Start there. Check your pressure with a decent pump every time you go for a bike ride. Make a note of how much air you put in it and how you felt about the ride. That's going to help you dial in your sweet spot. Every bicycle, tire, and rider combination has one. Remember though, if you keep going to the barber shop, sooner or later you're going to get a haircut. No matter what you do, you're going to get a flat eventually. That's a given. If that's not acceptable to you, I suggest you take up fishing. Stupid question number 9. Do you have any cell phone holders? Not one that you will like using. They all suck. Not as much as the old magnetic cyclocomputers that need Steve Jobs to reprogram them every 2 weeks when the battery dies, but they're all pretty terrible. But if you must track your speed and your distance because your neighbor does triathlons, a basic phone app is probably good enough for who it's for, so I do stock the most dummy-proof rubber band style holders I can find. Still, nothing beats the standalone GPS units, which yes, they are expensive, but not as expensive as your phone flying off your handlebars, off your toe, into the spokes, through your fork crown, flipping you face first into the pavement. And don't forget to stop the app before you get in the ambulance, or somebody's gonna call you out for fudging your stats. Stupid question number 8. Do you have a comfortable bike seat? There's no such thing as a comfortable bike seat. If bike seats were comfortable, we'd be using them as couches. Of course, some of them are more comfortable than others, but none of them are perfect. No, that gel cover from Walmart isn't a solution to your problem. And no, wider isn't always better. Recumbents are an exception. They can actually be pretty darn comfortable, but then you gotta be that guy. I only stock 2 saddles in my shop. Sport and comfort. Both are pretty good for most people and are completely dependent on your riding position. I think most people should just get used to using one of those, get some padded shorts, or take up fishing. Stupid question number 7. What size bike do I need? Bikes don't have sizes. Well, actually, they have infinite sizes. What I mean is there's no mutually agreed upon sizing convention for bicycles. Yet every brand has to have multiple sizes available for each model because bike sizing is critically important. So how do you know which one will fit? You don't. You just have to accept it's not something that you're ever going to understand and trust your local bike shop asshole to find one that's good enough for who it's for. Or you can spend hundreds of dollars to have a big-time bike snob racer bro give you a performance-optimizing bike fit that requires thousands of dollars in new equipment to validate the real truth about what size bike you need. Stupid question number 6. Do you have any gravel bikes? All bikes are gravel bikes, or at least they used to be. Back in the day, you either got a bicycle or a racing bike. Most commercially available bicycles had upright handlebars, springy saddles, and plump tires to handle all of the shitty roads. But when recreational cycling took off in the late 60s, everybody started pretending they were racers, so the brands started selling us all 10 speeds. And in the mid 70s, some absolutely ingenious dirtball hippie rednecks started putting 10-speed drivetrains on the old balloon-tired cruisers so they could go ride on the fire roads and logging trails in Marin County. These bikes were so practical that all the brands started selling us mountain bikes. But they're a little too clunky for the recreational cyclist. So the brands got smart and started making hybrids, which were right in the middle. And you guessed it, they had upright handlebars, springy saddles, and plump enough tires for the gravel roads. But then Lance showed up, and we all took to the roads on our 10 speeds again. But the capitalistic, car-centric, concrete hellscape of 21st century suburban America fought back hard, pushing cycling enthusiasts further out into the country, away from the pavement, back where they belong, in the middle of bumfuck Kansas. Stupid question number 5. Do you have any girls' bikes? Genders are for bathrooms. Why do you hate America? But since you called me a feminist, allow me to mansplain why gendering bicycles is just more of the patriarchy exploiting women. Susan B. Anthony once said that bicycles did more to emancipate women than anything else, and she's not wrong. Bicycles gave women much more independence and control over where they went because they no longer had to rely on men for transportation. But the horizontal top tubes of safety bicycles would hike up their skirts, and they couldn't be caught in public wearing bloomers. The sloping top tubes of girls' bikes allow skirts to hang down far enough to cover up those filthy, tantalizing legs pedaling their way into town for the next suffragette meeting. Modern, low step-through bicycles actually make a ton of sense for most riders, regardless of fashionable gender norms. But don't be fooled. Your pudgy alpha hubby needs a nutcracker with fat tires, just like the ones on his stupid truck. You know what? Never mind. Just buy him a fishing pole. Stupid question number 4. How many speeds does it have? Too many to understand, but never enough to sell you this bike. This might be the most profitable paradox in all of cycling. Despite being the most efficient form of transportation known to man, riding a bike still requires physical effort, and most of us are way too lazy for that. Being able to switch gears makes it a whole hell of a lot easier to ride a bike. However, switching gears requires mental effort, and most of us are way too stupid for that. The old British 3-speeds, with a single indexing shifter and internal gearing, are as dummy-proof as it gets. But the recreational cycling boom of the 60s adopted the 2x5 10-speed drivetrains used by all the pros in Europe. 10 speeds dominated the bicycle world for a good decade before somebody added a cog and made a 2x6 12-speed bike, which really did little more than provide a perceived value for the brands to sell, and it worked like a charm. So, you guessed it, they added a 7th, which required a longer axle, so you needed a new bike. Then they added an 8th, which meant you needed different wheels. And the 9 speeds required a different chain. And 10-speed cassettes, they needed their own chain too. 11 speeds meant new chain and another new wheel. And you can repeat that for 12-speed cassettes. And after 45 years of continuous improvement and innovation, we are currently up to 13. Despite all of this innovation, the shifters still work opposite of one another. You'll always get some rubbing in certain combinations. And until very recently, the low gears never got lower and the high gears never got higher. This is what happens when you let marketing drive innovation. Stupid question number 3. Why is my chain rubbing? Because you don't know how to ride your bike. Actually, it's because you wanted more gears. So we gave you more gears. But more gears means easier to ride, but harder to use. And you don't want to have to think about what you're doing, which means you really don't want those gears after all. Yeah, I know, bicycles go out of adjustment and need tune-ups, so it's really not that stupid of a question. But a large majority of the time, chains rubbing on drivetrains is user error. I honestly don't know how to explain the intricacies of setting up a 3x drivetrain to shift smoothly and not rub, but it's next to impossible. While designers have worked in trim shifting to the shifters to help, you need to be a genius-level bicycle mechanic like me to understand it, and I'm gonna need Neil deGrasse Tyson to explain it to you. Thankfully, in the past decade or so, 1x drivetrains with wide-range cog sets have become an industry norm, so no more front derailleurs. Of course, this means that all the bikes have half as many speeds, so they're harder to sell to all the dummies. This is why it took so long to figure it out. Stupid question number 2. Do you have any cruiser bikes? Hard no. I know, you're not a big biker or nothing, but 1 speed with soft, fat tires, big handlebars, and pedal brakes will only make your problems worse. But I see you. Everyone needs a slow bike, and I agree. It should be a slow, boring bicycle that fits your slow, boring lifestyle. As much as I like to place the blame on Big Bike for alienating the general public by focusing on performance and racing, modern comfort bikes are actually pretty great. With 1x drivetrains, hydraulic disc brakes, and plump, supple tires, these things practically ride themselves right out of the box. And for about 3 times the money, you can get one that actually pedals itself for you. I believe that right now is a better time than any other for even the most steadfast non-cyclist to get a taste of what it's like to be Pee-wee for just one fleeting moment. And it's a hell of a lot more fun than fishing. And the number one stupidest question of all, how much does the bike weigh? A decent bike should weigh about 25 or 30 pounds. Unless you're lifting it up over your head repeatedly or racing up a mountain for money, the weight of your bicycle is one of the least impactful parameters to consider. It's so cliche at this point, I can't even believe I'm ending my video with it. Just take a big dump before you go for a ride. Oh, I could stand to lose 25 or 30 pounds right here. Oh, you need to lift it onto your car rack. Why didn't you say so? For $2,000 extra, you could shave about 3 pounds, and that's going to solve that problem, won't it? I know, I should just shut my mouth and take the easy money. But I'd rather earn a quick buck ridiculing my custies on YouTube like a good little So there you have it, and I can hear the comments already. If you hate it so much, then why do you keep doing it? And the answer to that stupid question is so stupid, I call it a no-brainer. Because bicycles really are toys, and fixing them really is my hobby. And despite the industry juggernauts trying to make it impossible for me, I'm able to make a living doing it my way. And I think that makes me way better at bicycles than most of you. So listen closely if you're coming into my shop. You're gonna get a bike that fits your body and your lifestyle. You can ride that bike however you'd like. It just requires to be professionally maintained every so often so we can be friends.